Hey, how's it going? So, I bought this pot a long time ago now. Very long time ago now. Oh my gosh. And I originally bought it for putting succulents in it, like, you know, having a bunch of Haworthias in here. But then I was thinking about it, and where I keep my Haworthias, like, this is not the best setup to like have my Haworthias all in the windowsill. Like how I have them now in individual pots is probably the best way to get them all to fit. But I thought of something else for this one. How cute would it be to have a bowl of Variegated String of Hearts? Right? How cute would that be? So I'm gonna propagate a bunch of Variegated String of Hearts in here, and it's gonna be so cute. Hopefully one day it'll be trailing, because at the moment my string of hearts is looking a little bare at the top, and I would like to have a really full, luscious string of hearts, and the best way to do that is by propagating. So I'm probably gonna do a bunch of butterfly, I think they're called butterfly cuttings, something like that, butterfly propagations I think, and that's gonna hopefully fill up this entire bowl. I also have this plastic bag to keep the bowl in to help the propagations go smoothly, but we're gonna go ahead and do that in my kitchen because the lighting is much better, and I don't know, it's just overall easier. So here we go. Okay, so I've got everything here. Look how cute this pot is. It's literally the perfect little pot for this, so I'm gonna use this. And I have my plants here, and the reason I want to propagate them is because they look full, but that's because I have everything raveled on top so that it's not a really long drapes. So they're like just very long strands piled up on top of the pot, but I want a full plant. So that's why I also have this pot here for that, so I can have a full plant, because I prefer it to be full than trailing, which I don't know if that's just me, but I really prefer full to trailing. So that's what we're gonna do. I have my soil mix here, and we're gonna propagate these babies. Now I watered them a couple of days ago because you always want to have your plant at its healthiest condition when you're propagating it, and I'm just so excited to be getting hopefully shorter plants, because sometimes the ravels fall off the top and it's just, I don't know, it's just not my preferred way of how the plant looks. I'd prefer not to have these orchid bark chips in here, so I'm gonna take them out. But I think we're getting to the depth. I think this is as deep as I want to go with it, so that when I'm watering it's not overflowing and crazy like that. And now we can get to the propagating part. So like I said, I want it to be a very full plant, so I'm going to be doing like the butterfly method for the bottom parts, like this one where the nodes are kind of small. I'm going to keep them together, but otherwise I'm going to have single nodes. So it's kind of like having a bunch of plugs in your hair. Like if someone was getting hair I've been watching Arrested Development, so like if you're getting hair implants and then you put a bunch of plugs in your hair, like Tobias, that's what I'm essentially doing. So a bunch of plugs so I could have lots of strands coming out instead of just wrapping it around and having one long strand continue to grow larger. And if you do that, eventually the bulb, like rhizomes do grow and you can get more plants that way, but I think this is the fastest. And some of the strands may die, like they won't start growing, but that's the risk I'm gonna take. So I'm gonna try and fast forward this, but I am cutting, I'm just gonna cut the strands off for now so that it can be easier. And I'm gonna have to unravel this plant. So you can already see I'm unraveling it to reveal a very bare top and some dead leaves. Which it's okay to wrap your plant on top because sometimes they root and it's better like that, but as you can see, these are not rooted and I rather just have a full plant. So this one we're not gonna cut because that's short baby. This one I did cut. I guess I'll cut a little bit more off. And I am kind of worried about leaving this too blank. So there we go, a massive haircut. Oh, still I need to cut this one. Wow. There we go. Like this, I feel so much better about. Like, it looks cute. We're gonna just move that to the side, and we have all of this to propagate. That's a lot to work with, right? To make this full. So you can see that I'm taking the little butterfly cuttings / some little longer ones that are maybe four nodes long, and I'm just placing it so that the node is in the soil, and that's how we're gonna get the rhizome to grow and some roots to grow, and it's gonna be so beautiful. Okay, so I have my little mister, and I'm gonna mist this. I also didn't film this part, but after I misted it, I decided that wasn't enough water to fully saturate the soil, so I just went under my sink and tried to gently water the plant without the water stream kind of disrupting where I placed each node. So I also did that, and I let it soak through kind of a lot so that the entire soil was fully saturated with water. And I have a lot of cuttings in here because some of them are gonna rot away since I'm putting them in a plastic bag. Some of them aren't gonna root and they're just gonna dry out and die. But this is the potential to be the fullest. This is the potential to be the fullest little plant. So I'm gonna put it in the little bag, and then I'm gonna keep it in the west facing window so then hopefully it will root really quickly. I have a really large bag, so I'm gonna use it. But if I didn't, I would just saran wrap the top. Wow, this looks crazy. It looks like a bowl of little heart-shaped cereal. And this one, I think I'm just gonna put a little saran wrap on top of this one. And there we go. It's ready. And whenever something happens, or yeah, if anything happens, if some die, if some root, I will update you guys whenever that will be. So this is about 2 weeks since propagating, and you can see there were only 2 rotted leaves, and this is how they look when they rot. They get really mushy and they just die off, which is fine because both of those leaves also had another leaf attached to the node, so those nodes still had leaves on them. There were also some roots growing in, and I think almost every little cutting had a new growth coming from it. It's kind of hard to see, but there is some new growth there. I also clearly noticed that there was something growing here. I think it was mold, but I just left it because I don't really think it would harm the plant. And here I feel like you could see even more new growth. Those little fuzzy white lines are roots, and they didn't quite make their way into the soil, but they did grow out, and that's something. In this propagation, there was also new growth coming out of every node. On some of them, it's very tiny and it's very hard to see from here, but there was definitely little nubs coming out of every single cutting. And here we are 2 weeks after the last update and 4 weeks after propagation. you can see all those little nubs that I was telling you about have grown out to be what is conceivably a little plant. So each of these all on their own had their own little sprouts coming out. Some of them were much smaller than others, but all of them definitely had new sprouts, except for the end cuttings. Those ones just continued growing out as they were, and they didn't have new sprouts coming out from each node. But regardless, everything went beautifully. Here you can see it as well. All of them have their little babies. They're so cute. This is 1 week after the last update and 9 weeks since propagation, and there were 2 dead leaves in here that I took out, but I think 4 out of all of these leaves in here dying is really good. Those are really good odds that not all of them are gonna rot. There is so much new growth. This little fella wasn't even in the soil, and that's why you see its little fuzzy roots, but I tried to position it back into the soil. I don't know if it's gonna grow in there, but we'll see. And I just think it looks overall so great. During this whole time, I have not watered it again at all. I only watered it that once, and that was it. There was 1 dead leaf in the little baby propagation, which 1 out of that is not as good odds, but still it's pretty good. All the little babies are growing too, and I think I spot some all white leaves. That is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed watching the progression of seeing these plants come from cuttings to kind of their own plants on themselves. I'll probably show you this plant again whenever I take it out of the bag. It's not ready yet. Usually taking propagations out of their bags slows down the growth a lot, and I rather just have really quick growth right now and then take it out when I feel like it's big enough. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!